really crackling sound. Now this is not thunder, this is not lightning, this is like a crackling sound that's coming from afar, and we don't know what it is. And all of a sudden we hear like a big old crashing sound coming directly towards us. Hi you guys, welcome back to MissKaCi. Okay you guys, so I did mention earlier in my video that I was going to tell you about my story on what I experienced during the storm coming up shortly, so keep watching. Oh, let's get into it. Okay guys, so earlier in my video I did mention that I was going to tell you a story of what happened to me during the storm, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what I experienced and what I went through. I'm giving these tips and I'm basically explaining why you should consider preparing yourself for the hurricane storm, because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, but I'll go ahead and explain in those details when you hear the story, and we'll go from there. Okay, so back in 2016, around Hurricane Matthew in October, we went through a really bad hurricane storm, and to say the least, I just came back from California, San Diego, and I was actually coming back home to actually do a job interview. My mom was telling me maybe I should hold off and wait before I come back home, of course, because I was coming into like hurricane season. And I told her, so, well, you know, I mean, I really have to get this interview. It was basically a video conference interview that I had to do for a job, and I told her, I said, I told them that I would be coming home at around this time to visit you guys, so if everything goes well, I'll just go back to California, and of course, I'll start working at the job that I interviewed for. So, which was fine. I came home, and initially, we went through this whole process of trying to call ourselves prepared for the storm, but it didn't go that way, because honestly, we've been through storms all the time. Like, back at home in South Carolina, we have a ton of hurricane storms, so this is not something new to us. It's not something that generally we have no idea about. We kind of basically run through the course of waiting it out, and then after, of course, we wait it out, we generally know how to pick up the pieces. But in this case, this year really did hit us harder than what we expected. Of course, after the storm, we didn't get initially a bad hit, but we did run into a lot of problems that I wish that I was prepared more for, and I wish my family was more prepared for when we did experience this. So I'm going to go into the details and jump into the story fully. Initially, by the time I got home, I actually went to the store with my mom because she said we need to go ahead and gather supplies and get ourselves ready. So what she did was stock up on groceries, because she felt like, okay, at least we're going to be able to sit in the house, we're just going to regroup, and we're not really thinking about the power goes out, because our power has always stayed on all the time during every storm that we ever encountered. So we didn't think that our power would go out. Boy, was we wrong, because as soon as the storm happened, it started Friday. The storm actually hit us literally Saturday. And we were told that we were going to get a lot of power surges, a lot of wind, a lot of flooding, which is something that we have dealt with plenty of times before. And they did urge us to evacuate, but if you didn't evacuate, you can definitely stay home. So after the evacuation was basically done, we just basically stayed home, because we basically know right now we're not trying to go anywhere, we're not trying to travel anywhere, so what would be the point of us trying to pack up our bags right now and leave? That Saturday morning, we ate breakfast, and then that's when the storm actually hit us. And when I mean it actually hit us, you guys, like, we were having power surges. Like, within the night, our power was going in and out, which was okay. At least the longest it actually kept going off and on was maybe within a millisecond. But it wasn't really doing anything to designate that it's completely shut off, we're not getting anything. It was just going in and out, which was fine. That was expected, because we were getting a lot of heavy winds. Now, with that being said, that morning we were eating breakfast. Later on that afternoon, we're sitting around the table, we're talking and considering watching a movie online, because we figured that there's nothing better else to do, nothing on TV, so why not? Next thing you know, we hear this really crackling sound. Now, this is not thunder, this is not lightning, this is like a crackling sound that's coming from afar, and we don't know what it is. And all of a sudden, we hear like a big old crashing sound coming directly towards us. there was a tree coming way from the back of our yard, or better yet, on the side of our yard, way in the back. And it literally hit our power line and knocked off our power completely. So at this point, we're like, did everybody hear that? And then all of a sudden, the power just shut off. And we were like, what's going on? I said, maybe this is the part where we're getting power off, you know? So my dad took it upon himself to go outside, and he said, wait a minute. He literally didn't go all the way outside. He's like, let me just check and see what's going on. He saw the tree on the side of our house down, looking through the window. So he actually decided to go outside, put on a raincoat, and literally was like, okay, so our power is completely out. And we're trying to figure out, maybe it's just us, because clearly the tree literally knocked and fell onto the actual power line, which is our cable source, our internet source, everything. Like our main power that powers everything to our house, it hit directly on our line. It didn't hit just the power lines alone for everyone else. So we're trying to figure out, is it just us or is it everyone else? Come to find out, it was just us for that very moment. Then another tree fell. Now, luckily, and we were very fortunate that the tree did not fall on our house. You know, that was a good thing that it didn't fall on our house. But the fact that it fell on our power line, so we were directly cut off from any source, any power, anything. So next thing you know, we noticed our neighbors, it started trickling down. The neighbors across from us and down the street from us was basically getting out of power. So we took it upon ourselves to say, you know what, let's go ahead and regroup. We turned up the freezer to make sure that our food and everything was well stocked, well frozen. And then we took it upon ourselves to go ahead and take a trip. We decided to leave. While the storm was still going on, there was a little bit of debris. The storm was coming down a little bit. And we decided to actually just get in the car and leave. We decided to go to my brother's house because we figured maybe he has power. And maybe, you know, where he's further at, maybe we can actually go where he is actually getting a better flow of things, because he's a little bit further inland where we're more closer to the coast. So we get in the car and we drive all the way out to the other side of town. And we get to my brother's house, and I have two older brothers, so this is the middle child. We get to his house, which initially he was staying with us during the storm because he felt like, okay, well, I need to be around family, so if anything happens to me or my power goes out, at least I'm around family and people that know what's going on. So we took it upon ourselves, maybe we can go to his house, took what we had, and regrouped. That's why I didn't mention earlier the cooler, because I came up with that idea the very first. I said, Mom, you know, I don't know what my brother has at the house, but do you want to take some food with us? And that way we can just cook it at his house if he has power. So that's initially what he did. And this all happened way before COVID, you guys. This all happened way before we're in this epidemic that we're going on right now. So this was something that was really a shocker to us because we never experienced anything like this before. So we went all the way to my brother's house, got there, and he had it even worse than us. His power was completely out. So we was like, okay, well, now we have all this food. We might as well just go ahead and try to cook it. But we didn't have any resources. We didn't have any charcoal. We didn't have any lighting fluid. We didn't have any of those things. But my brother did have a grill. So we did go to a convenience store, bought charcoal, bought instant charcoal, the one that actually powers up so that way you don't have to buy lighting fluid, and actually went through that process to light up, cook all the food, and we did enjoy some food for that day. And then, of course, we had to make it back home, hoping that the power would return. Unfortunately, it took basically 3 days for our neighborhood to gain power. But as for us, it took a whole week. And the reason why it took a week that we were out is because our lines were hit down by a tree. Everybody else's line went out due to the actual power source. Ours was disconnected from the power source. So we didn't have anything for a week, meaning that we didn't have any electricity. All we had was water. Water, you guys. And that was one thing that we were thankful for. We did have water. So we could take showers. We could wash up. We could use water to cook our food and cleanse ourselves. But the essential thing was that we didn't have hot water. We had cold water. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about taking cold showers every day, but me, I was not feeling that on so many different levels. I personally, I never took a cold shower. I'll take that back. I have taken a cold shower my very first day being at college. And the community bathrooms now mind you, I went there in January. The community bathrooms were not running through that time period through winter. So I took a freezing cold shower. So I know how it feels, but to take it every day, that was something that I was not adjusted to. And that was not something I was adjusted to, especially being at home. So we tried to make do the best way we could, but I was like relentless. I was like, I don't know if I can do it anymore, but I had to like muster up the courage to say, let me just jump in the shower because I know I have to cleanse myself. But it's the fact of the matter, it was getting cold. I don't know how you guys climate is, but anytime we go through a storm, the weather dramatically drops. And it was October for us. So we were like fall and then getting close to like winter. So that's how it felt. And so taking a cold shower and then going outside felt like I'm going to get sick because I'm taking cold showers and I'm going outside and the weather's not hot anymore. It's actually turned to getting kind of clammy and cold, and it's just not the summer hot weather that I'm used to. Especially if I came back from California and then came back to South Carolina and then knowing that I'm running into this cold climate. So after a storm, of course. So next thing that we had to do was all our food, our frozen food, like our seafood, our steaks, our meats, all of that was going to spoil. Mind you, it was only been like maybe 12 hours by the time we got back to our actual family house. So when we got home, our food was either going to be thrown away or either it had to be consumed within that time period. So what me and my mom did and what me and my dad did, we tried to get together and basically cool down everything with ice. Now, ice is only going to last maybe 8 hours tops to keep something cool, and then, or maybe 5 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. Maybe a short period of time, but it's not going to keep everything cool. And we had to throw away a lot of our frozen food, even the food that my mom purchased that very same day before the storm. All that food was gone. So, but we were able to eat some of the food. So that's why I mentioned earlier of some of the perishable, non-perishable foods to eat, and also the food that you can have. So I'm going to tell you what we were able to consume. So I noticed that we had some chicken, we also had ground beef, we had shrimp, we had fish, but we had to throw away the shrimp, we had to throw away some of the steaks that we had, because we had too many of them, so we had to throw them away. We only could cook and consume some of them. So my dad took the rest of the charcoal grill that he bought initially to service my brother who was at his house, and we brought it back at our house because we have a personal grill. So that's another reason why I was mentioning invest in a grill. It comes in handy because we didn't have no stove, we didn't have no refrigerator, so we had to consume what we could in that time period to make sure that our food is not going to waste. You guys, I had spaghetti on a grill, and our grill was a conventional oven, not only that, but it was also a regular standard gas grill, or even consider electric grill. But anyway, we had mashed potatoes going, we had actual spaghetti. That was probably like the best spaghetti that I ever had on a grill. Like my mom literally boiled the water on the grill and put the spaghetti noodles in it. And then after that, she basically took ground beef and sauce and all her normal ingredients and basically cook up that spaghetti, over the actual grill in the pot. And literally, we ate spaghetti. And that was probably the best spaghetti. Then we had mashed potatoes. Then we had grilled corn. Let me just say this. A grill is not just for barbecues and 4th of July and Memorial Day. It can also be for using it to get you something to eat during the storm, or cook you, or heat up some food. So don't, not think of the grill as a resource, because it is. It is a great resource. Now I know there's some people out there that may not don't know how to work a grill, but you don't have to have a big old grill to cook your food. You can have the little small little round grill, long as you have aluminum foil and long as you have some, to clean your actual grill and put your food on there. You can have yourself some nice burgers. You can have some chicken, whatever vegetables you got, and just do it on the grill. And take your pots and pans out there and put it in there like you would cook on the stove. And it's over a hot flame. And if you have the conventional stove grill, of course that will work as well. But I did want to throw that out there. We did run into lighting problems, so what we did was went to Dollar Tree. And if you guys have a Dollar Tree or a dollar store in your area, definitely go there. They have great emergency supplies. You want to basically look at those because those are great investments. They gave us, what we found there was actually these LED candle lights. And you turn them on and they actually give you a nice big bright light to fill up your bathroom, whatever room you go into. It really does work. So it did take up initially a week for us to actually get this going for us. And we were able to eat. We were able to at least entertain ourselves. One thing that I will tell you about this whole story that I thought was just crazy, that I went through this. I literally went to Redbox to go rent a couple movies, of course. And in that time period, when I was renting movies, I actually ran into problems where my actual laptop had no more battery life. It was basically going dead. So I had no choice but to charge it. And I noticed I went to a convenience store, which was Publix. And Publix actually had a electrical outlet out on the outside of their store, right in front of their store. And I went there and I was like, you know what, I'm going to definitely come back. But I asked the store manager, I said, hi, is it possible, can I use your power outlet? I just asked them, was very kind and very nice about it. They were even nice to allow me, because they were the only store in my area that was actually open. All the other stores were basically closed because they lost power. So they was like, yeah, sure, we don't mind. I said, well, I'll probably come back later on tonight when the crowd is not so busy. Because I went there and we went to the store to get a couple of supplies as well. So we left and came back home, and I was like, Mom, it's getting close to like 7, 8 o'clock. I want to go back to Publix if you don't mind coming with me, because it's dark out there. And I don't want to be sitting out there outside trying to charge my laptop. So I initially went out there, and you guys, I was sitting on the cold concrete ground. I do not recommend doing this, but I wanted a charge. I needed a charge. I did not have a portable battery at that time. I did not have those kind of resources. So again, this is why I'm telling you, don't do like I did. I sat on a cold concrete floor. And I'm going to show you a picture right here, like just like this, on the ground. But only thing with this picture, I didn't have like steps or anything. I was literally on the concrete floor with my laptop in my hand like this, waiting for a charge. So I can watch a movie in Redbox and I know some people are like, I wouldn't have gone through those measures. I wouldn't have done that. But understand that I was in a moment in time where I needed to watch something to entertain myself. I didn't want to sit there and twiddle my thumbs, so I wanted to get and watch a movie, and I already bought a movie from Redbox. Why not go ahead and get a charge while I can still do so? So I'm sitting down there, and my mom is parked, of course, on the side, so I'm waiting for this charge to actually start. And I have probably like a good hour before I'm going to get a full 100% charge. Assuming I'm going to get at least an hour or 2 hours in whatever movie I bought. So I wanted a full charge. I had the store manager probably check on me twice. And I'm sitting on the ground because the benches that they have out there was not close enough to the outlet. So I literally was sitting on the ground because at first I put my laptop on the ground and I walked away and I sat in the car with my mom. I was like, you know what? I'm really scared that somebody's going to come and snatch my laptop off the charger and run away with it or whatever. So let me just go back and sit there and wait. I did it twice, you guys. The second time I sat back out there, I see this blue BMW pull up in front of me, and I see this girl get out the car, and she goes to the ATM, at the actual public store entry, and then she goes inside the store. And then I see the guy literally drives and he parks the car. Now he's a young guy, and I'm trying to figure out at this point, I'm just looking, sitting down, have, my active gear on, some sneakers on, and a jacket because it was getting cold. It was like October and it was feeling already fall season. So I literally had on a tank top and a jacket on, and I'm sitting there with my hair pulled to the side in the ponytail. I'm sitting there with my laptop like this, minding my own business. And next thing I know, out of the blue, this guy goes in his trunk, and I'm sitting there going in his trunk, and I'm just like, well, I ain't got nothing better to do but stare at my laptop, waiting for it to charge while I have the power off. This guy literally came from you guys, literally. And I see him walking up to the store with a pillow. Like an actual pillow that you see. And he literally looks at me and he said, here, please sit on this pillow instead of sitting on the cold ground. And I said, oh, no, I'm fine, sir. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I'm good. He was like, no, please, sit on this pillow. Because I guess he felt bad for me that I was sitting on the cold ground. And he must have thought that I was homeless, you guys, because, mind you, everyone in the area was out of power, or maybe the storm may have affected them a little worse than others. So he probably thought that the only thing I had that survived was my laptop. So I'm homeless sitting at the store. Sir, I'm fine. I promise you. I'm telling him, I promise you, I'm fine. My car is right there. Like, my mom is right there. My mom is sitting there just dying laughing because she sees this guy trying to give me a pillow to sit on so I don't have to sit on that cold concrete ground. And don't get me wrong, I did appreciate the offer, but it was just one of those things I was like, I'm only going to be here for a short period of time, so I don't need a pillow to sit on, and I'm not going to be able to give it back to you. So yeah, it was just one of those crazy things. I've never had that happen to me ever before. Like, a random stranger just come up to me and is like, here's a pillow. But that was very kind. I really do appreciate that, but it was not needed. Like, but my mom was cracking up laughing. Like, that was one of my stories. That was my experience. But again, don't do like I do. Invest in a portable charger or invest in a generator, and definitely consider a grill and also a mobile hotspot, you guys. That's why I'm giving you these tips, because my story initially, everything would have probably been avoided if we prepared ourselves with those tips that I gave you. So take that in consideration next time you're going through a hurricane storm, and I will most likely say that maybe you will be better luck than I did, and maybe you won't have to go through too much. I mean, I understand sometimes the water can cut out, and I definitely understand that sometimes you may not be always to regroup, but at least with some of these tips, if you're not going through that bad of a storm, at least you can regroup with your family and be safe, especially while we're going through the COVID-19. So with that being said, I will see you on my next one. Thank you for watching this channel. I hope I was able to buy you some great tips, and I'll see you later, guys. Bye.